sleep on this one. Sort out your transportation beforehand. Did you hear me? The next day, after I thought maybe I'll just go. First day, I'll just find a place. Okay, I'll pay. And from what I had heard, I just felt like, oh, it's cheap now. 350k. I should be able to get a really nice mini flat. Rude shock. Welcome back to my channel. Thank you for stopping by. Today we're going to go straight into the series that we've been running for the past 2 videos or 3, the Moving to Lagos series. So I just moved to Lagos recently. If you've not been following up with the series, you can check it out right here and keep up with the videos that have passed. So today's video is going to be top tips that you should have, things that you should know, keep at the back of your mind when you're house hunting in Lagos. The first few tips will be like stuff that are very obvious, and then we'll work our way up to the top. So the first thing you should know is never I feel like I don't even need to say this, but let me just say it. Never pay for an apartment that you have not seen. Did you hear me? Never pay for an apartment that you've not seen with your 2 eyes like this. What I ordered versus what I got, it's not only on Instagram. You can go to house hunting websites. You can go to okay, there's Property Pro, there's Fiverr.ng, there's Niger Property Center. I'll link some of them in the description below. You can go to those websites, but just go there, connect with agents, find safe locations. That's going to bring me to my next one, to meet up with them. But do not pay for anything online. You can send someone that is in that city. If you're house hunting in Lagos and let's say you're in Abuja or in Port-Harcourt, for instance, you can send someone that is in Lagos, maybe your friend, ask them to go see the place for you. But personally, I wouldn't even recommend that someone else does your house hunting for you, because you're the one that's going to live there. Do you get? So if you can't and you have to send someone, please do. But if you can't make it yourself, don't make any payments online. Said my own. Next one is what I already talked about before. Make sure that you're meeting with agents, you're meeting with anyone that you're meeting with. You're most likely meeting them for the first time, so make sure you fix public, open locations, restaurants or major landmarks outside in the open. Like, don't go to any corner office, corner anywhere. Don't do any of those things, because it's not safe out here, man. Like, it's not safe, especially if you're a female. So make sure that you meet them in open, safe locations, right? So the next one, which is the third tip, is I can sleep on this one. Sort out your transportation beforehand. Did you hear me? Sort out your transportation beforehand. See, out of the, I think I spent about 100,000 during the whole process, during the whole course of house hunting and trying to move. Out of that 100,000, I spent over 50k, like more than half of it on transport alone. I thought maybe I'll just go. First day, I'll just find a place. Okay, I'll pay. See, just about your transportation beforehand. It was a shock of my life. The first agent that I met came. He now said, "Oh, let's go." I said, "Let's go where? How? I don't see any car. On my wheels bike." Even on top of that, I still paid for the 2 of us. Anyway, so just make sure that you have sorted out your transportation. Keep it in mind that you're going to spend a lot on that, and then make sure that you have planned ahead for it. So that's the third one. The fourth tip is when the agents ask you, okay, what's your budget, what's your range, all of that, do not say the high end of the range, right? If your budget is, let's say you're open to spending 400 to 600k on rent, say 400. Don't say 600. Say like 400, 450, because they'll try to upsell you. Whatever you do, if you say 600, they will take you to places that are 700, 750, because when they do the math, when the higher your rent, the more they get in agency fee. We'll talk about all of that in a few other tips coming up. So the higher your rent, the more they have in agency fee. So they'll try to upsell you. So when you're trying to say your budget, or you're trying to explain, okay, range or anything, just keep it on the low. Another thing that you should know is to look out for the conditions in the listing. So for me, when I was house hunting, I started house hunting in Port-Harcourt, and I was on Property Pro. I was on Nigeria Property Center or Nigeria Property Center, I'm not very sure now, but I was on those websites, and I would see in the bottom, like, you know, the details section, they'll say working class only, or single working class female only, or Yoruba only, no Igbo. Anyway, so it's very sad that we still have to deal with tribalism and all of those things, and, you know, stereotypes. But in the meantime, please check the details, check and ask to be sure, so that you don't go to an apartment and then, before it used to be a lot harder, you know, finding an apartment by yourself as a woman. But now most of the apartments that I saw on Property Pro, most of them were asking for single lady, which is very weird actually. But let's not even talk about that. Let's not even get into that. But yeah, most of them were asking for a single lady, working class lady, something. By working class, they mean someone with a 9 to 5. So there's that. That brings me to my next point. So if you don't have a 9 to 5, it may be a little harder for you to get an apartment in Lagos. Most of the time, they ask for an employment letter. They ask for all of those stuff. So if you don't have a 9 to 5, what you can do is, if you're splitting it with someone, like if you're roommates, if you're getting the apartment with a friend, or like you guys are roommates, try to make sure that you get one with someone who has a 9 to 5. That way they will stand in for you. Like, they will sign the lease, their name and their details and everything will be on the papers. Now, if you're renting by yourself, you don't have a roommate, then you might want to get someone to sign for you. Let it be that, or maybe your uncle, your cousin, your friend that has a 9 to 5, someone else that can stand in for you. You shall know how you behave so that you don't put somebody in trouble. But yeah, those are the two ways that you can go around it. And sometimes, if you're lucky, they really don't care if you have a 9 to 5 or not. But most of the apartments that are really nice that I saw, where we tell you working class this, working class that, which is very so weird. But okay, there's that. Another thing that you should have in mind, I think that was number 6. So another thing, which is number 7, should be for planning for the extra fees. So it's not only rent that you pay. When I came to Lagos, I was like, okay, I hadn't gone house hunting on the mainland before, and from what I had heard, I just felt like, oh, it's cheap now, 350k, I should be able to get a really nice mini flat. Rude shock. Oh god. Anyway, so plan for the extra fees. It's not 350k. 350k cannot get a decent mini flat. If you're trying to get a mini flat, by mini flat I mean room, parlor, kitchen, and bathroom, right? Bathroom and toilet. So that's a mini flat, like a 1-bedroom apartment basically. So on the average, just know that you spend like 600k on yearly rent. Now, when I mean plan for the extra fees, there are other fees that you pay apart from your yearly rent. The first time that you're renting an apartment, you pay agency, which is to the real estate agent. You pay legal fees / agreements, which is for the paper, the legal things, the lawyer work involved. You also pay caution. Sometimes they don't collect caution, but caution is a refundable deposit. So if you break anything in the house or you spoil anything, you forfeit it. So when you're leaving the apartment and they'll inspect it to see that everything is still up and in place, then they'll give you your caution back. And then in some places you pay utilities or service charge. So currently in my apartment I pay utilities. I already paid, the first time with the whole, I paid for the year, with the rent and everything that I paid. In some apartments or in some locations, especially on the island, most times on the island you pay service charge. So service charge sometimes, but you need to ask them what the service charge covers, because sometimes they'll just tell you that a service charge is for sweeping the compound and security man or something like that. So they just collect service charge. It's very heavy fees, not 10k, 20k. They'll tell you service charge. Service charge for a year could be like 300k or 400k, depending on the location and the rent, right? Sometimes, okay, very specifically, agency is 10%. Usually on the island, agency is 10%, legal is 10%, and then caution is whatever they decide it is. Usually be 100k or 200k or something on the island. And then service charge could be 200k or 300k. Most of the apartments that I saw at that time, last year, service charge was 200k, some of them were 300k. One of them, it was a studio apartment, the rent was 900k, service charge was 300k. Yeah, so it was 1.2. Then agency was 10%, that's 90 plus 180, so it was just basically like 1.4, roughly 1.4. So consequently subsequently you pay only your yearly rent, right? So yeah, but that's that. So just make sure that you plan for all these extra fees. It's not only your rent. You know that, okay, you want to pay, your rent is like 600k, but you know that on the mainland they'll charge you, like sometimes they'll charge you 20%, agency 20%, agreement, caution fees, and utilities. So just keep these 4 things in mind. You can negotiate the agency and agreement. Make sure that you negotiate it. Sometimes you may not be able to negotiate your rent, but make sure that you negotiate all those ones. So the next tip, which is tip number 8, we have 2 more to go. I have 10 here. So the next tip is to ask questions. Does landlord live? This one, I need to balance what to even say it. Does the landlord live in the apartment? Not in the apartment, in the building or in the compound or around that place, I have heard from my friends, right, that stay in buildings where their landlord or landlady lives. Is hell. Hi, Faye. Is hell. It can be really, really terrible. Like, it can be really bad, because they'll be very nosy and very all up in your business. So just make sure that, as much as possible, avoid that your landlord or landlady lives in the apartment or in the same building, because it's just terrible. What is the light like? What is like the electricity? What's it like? Ask people. When I moved into this apartment, before I paid, while I was outside, I saw some people passing and knew that it looked like they stayed around. So I asked them what the light was like, whether there has been light today, how long has it been, just things like that. Just ask all those kind of questions. Look at the road situation. If it's not rainy season, look out for the drainages. Like, is there any the drainage gutters? Is there any drainage pattern around? Is there any sign that, okay, there's a gutter or there's something to carry the rain if it falls, or stuff like that? Another thing is the prepaid meters too. Ask if the prepaid meters are shared. Is it something that maybe 4 of you in the building share one prepaid meter, or 4 of you in the building pay traditional estimates? Like, so with estimates is like whatever NEPA bill they bring for you, you pay every month. Or with prepaid meter, you pay as you use. So if it's something that everyone is sharing prepaid meter, it might be a problem, because you in your house, you might not have fridge or AC. You will not be paying the same amount as someone who has fridge, AC, washing machine, dishwasher, everything. Abeg, just check and be sure. Ask all these questions. Ask as many questions as you can. There's no such thing as asking too many questions. I asked so many questions and I still have issues in this apartment where I am right now. There's a leakage that has been on my ceiling, I mean from the roof, I don't even know, for a while now. And that was actually because of my negligence, because when I was coming in here to inspect, I saw water. One of the times when I came in here to inspect the building or inspect the apartment, I saw water on the floor. And I didn't know how the water got in. It had rained the night before, and I saw that the windows were shut. There was no trace of water coming from the window. Only for me to realize that one of the bulbs was loosely fit. so water was dripping from the roof through that bulb. So it was just hanging in the middle, so there was no trace of water on the wall or from the window or anything. It was just dripping from there, and it was until I moved in that I realized that that was the issue. So make sure that you ask as many questions as possible, that's so that you don't get into you don't sign any agreements for a building or an apartment that you've not entered, and these people never give you refunds. Like, they cut their neck before you collect their refund. So just make sure you ask as many questions as you can. The next one is to check the network situation with your MiFi, your phone, and check your location as well. Check your estimates, your ride estimate. So if you work in 9 to 5, check at every apartment that you go to. Maybe anytime that the agent takes you to a new place, just open your app, whatever, Uber, Bolt, whatever it is that you use, and then just check the estimates, so that you just have a rough idea of how much you'll be spending on transport every day. And it will help you make decisions too, because you might go to some buildings where you really like it, you like this building, something, but it's really far. Another one, you like it the same way, like you just feel like, oh, you have to decide between these two buildings, and that might be a deciding factor. So just make sure that you check all these things. Check the MiFi and internet situation. Don't go where you go, it cannot call you. So the last thing I'm going to talk about is, don't be in a hurry. They will try to rush you. Do you get? Like, they will try to rush you. Somebody's coming, I already sent my account details to this person, they are doing the transfer now. If you don't pay for it, something, and then you feel like, let me just pay for it before I miss out. So it's that FOMO that they're trying to build. The whole if you don't pay for it right now, you miss this apartment forever. I understand that there's some apartments that you might want to just take a chance on, but there's some things that you can't manage, right? There's some things that you end up, like, you just be very frustrated, and you know that if you had waited for a bit, you may have gotten something better, right? So don't be in a hurry. Don't let the rush get to you, but at the same time, act fast. If there's a building that, okay, that's very contradictory. So don't let anybody rush you, right? But understand that time may not be on your side. It's a building that you like, an apartment that you really like, and you want to take. Maybe you're not sure about the distance, or you're not sure about, clarify everything you need to clarify and make your decision as fast as possible. But don't let that decision be based on external factors. Be based on the people that the agents are telling you, rush, or someone is going to take the apartment if you don't take it, that kind of thing. These are my tips for house hunting and getting, to moving to a new apartment, especially in Lagos. This is where I have the most experience. So if you're moving to another apartment in another state or another place, some tips in this video, you might find them helpful. But yeah, that's a wrap. So ask many questions that you want to ask, anything that you want to know, anything that you want me to talk about. I'll be filming a Q&A very soon, so ask me those questions in the comment section and I would respond to them. The house hunting video did really well, and I'm really happy with the way you guys took the video. So thank you so much if you've watched the video. If you've not watched it, feel free to check it out right now. Please go and watch the house hunting video. Go and see what my eyes saw in this Lagos before I found my apartment. And if you've also not seen the my empty house tour, I have also linked it right here. So feel free to check those videos out, and just check the Moving to Lagos playlist, and you find something helpful right there. Okay, thank you so much for watching. If you liked this video, if you found it helpful, please give it a thumbs up and subscribe so that you don't miss any of the next uploads. Bye.